We'll in the house.
Wait, we'll at where?
Never mind, it's fiber time.
Every year, the Super Bowl features some of the most creative and high-budget commercials, typically enlisting A-list celebrities to appeal to a wider audience. But this year, the celebrity ads felt more like a humiliation ritual.
Monster cringe. Golden cringe.
William Shatner talking about pooping every day, Serena Williams promoting Ozempic, and Kendall Jenner gambling on her ex-boyfriends to make money. These commercials were a recession indicator. The global economy is so bad right now that even the rich and famous will do pretty much anything for a paycheck. And what's the next best thing to having your commercial air during the Super Bowl? Having it discussed on my YouTube channel. The stock market is not ready for my video. So, let's go through all of the cringe moments and questionable ideas. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, and Jason Alexander all star in a fake 90s sitcom called Good Will Dunkin for Dunkin' Donuts. The entire thing is just them in wigs and CGI to look younger, and then they make a bunch of 90s sitcom references.
How you doing? Smoothly. We're on a break!
Well, this is my new boyfriend. How you like these nuts?
I'm Tom.
In the 2011 film Jack and Jill, one of the jokes is that Al Pacino filmed a ridiculous commercial for Dunkin' Donuts promoting a product called Dunkachino.
Dunkachino?
Don't mind if I do!
The reason why it was funny was because it seemed unimaginable for a respected A-list celebrity to do something so low-brow.
This must never be seen by anyone.
But in 2026, it feels like the norm. Kendall Jenner stars in an ad for Fanatics Sportsbook making fun of the fact that she has dated a bunch of athletes and would bet against them on Fanatics Sportsbook to make money. While I think the ad is smart, it does feel a bit icky that someone with a reasonably young fan base is promoting gambling. A lot of this year's ads relied heavily on being able to pull a big name rather than use them in a creative way. Ritz Crackers was the best example of this. Bowen Yang and Jon Hamm were salty that they weren't invited to a beach party featuring Ritz Crackers, but then Scarlett Johansson picked them up on a jet ski to take them to the party.
Okay.
Bowen Yang and Jon Hamm are not known for being salty people, so it was not smart to utilize them in this role. There was another ad with Aubrey Plaza where the concept made more sense, but here, I don't know what they were thinking. Poppy Soda's ad is set in a boring classroom, but as soon as a student cracks open a can of Poppy, the professor transforms into Charlie XCX and everyone joins in on a 2026 version of the Harlem Shake. And that's the entire vibe of the ad.
Vibes. 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 Vibes.
Bud Light's ad was all about a beer keg accidentally rolling down a hill at a wedding, and everyone would prefer to chase after it than attend a wedding, showing how great the product was. But they paid Post Malone, Shane Gillis, and Peyton Manning to appear in the ad for no reason besides, here are some familiar faces. They were featured in a Bud Light ad in the previous year too, which feels like the only reason to include them in this year's, but they were an afterthought. A very expensive afterthought. In an ad for Kellogg's Raisin Bran, William Shatner, yes, the William Shatner, Captain Kirk himself, leans fully into the Star Trek nostalgia. He gets beamed down to different locations like he's on an away mission, except the whole joke is that now he's going by Will, S-H-A-T. The entire joke was that his last name is another word for poop, which is exactly what Raisin Bran assists with.
We'll in the house.
Wait, we'll at where?
We're in the car! Oh!
Now to be clear, I actually respect William Shatner for being game for this ad. At 94, he's clearly in on the joke and having fun. This ad is in the same vein as the Bob Dole Viagra ad, old men leaning into being old men. But that's kind of what makes it weirdly revealing. Because this is an Emmy-winning actor, and the best creative idea Kellogg's could come up with was William Shatner sounds like. Right now, we live in a world where Ben Affleck is promoting Dunkin' Donuts, Scarlett Johansson is promoting Ritz Crackers, and Hugo Henderson is promoting CyberGhost VPN, the sponsor of today's video. CyberGhost VPN is basically a must-have if you care about your online privacy. There are way more eyes on your internet activity than you might think. Your internet provider, your work network, and even your home Wi-Fi can still see what you are doing. This is where CyberGhost VPN comes in. You just pick one of their 100 plus server locations, hit connect, and boom, your traffic gets encrypted and routed through their secure servers. Way more private and way more secure. But my favorite part is that it lets you unblock geo-blocked content on over 40 streaming platforms like Netflix, Prime, and Disney+. Just change your online location in 2 clicks and you get up to 40% more content from your streaming platform. It's super easy. It works on Windows, Mac, Android, and iOS, and you can share it with your friends and family, protecting up to 7 devices at once. CyberGhost VPN has over 38 million users around the world, so it's pretty obvious that it's a must-have service. Click the link in my description to get 84% off. That is only $2.03 a month with 4 extra months for free, and there is a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there really is no risk. Now, let's get back to the video. Some brands were able to make ads that felt creative while also being relevant to the celebrity's personal brand. For instance, Sabrina Carpenter's Pringles ad where she built a man out of Pringles. Sabrina is known for dragging men in her music and calling them not good enough for her, so her preferring to build a man out of Pringles is showing how great the product is. Also, killing him off at the end is a reference to how a man always dies in one of her music videos. Side note, she calls her Pringle boyfriend Leo.
Pringle Leo.
This feels like a Leonardo DiCaprio joke, but I doubt that she's into him considering that she dragged him on her 25th birthday cake. Then there were the commercials that had an incredibly high budget but did not seem to do a very good job at promoting their product or service. Instacart's commercial was the worst. It featured Benson Boone and Ben Stiller singing as a 70s Italian pop duo on a TV show. Benson Boone does his signature flip, which gets Ben Stiller envious, so he tries to outdo him. The whole thing feels like a Saturday Night Live skit, but at the end, you realize it is an ad for Instacart. Outside of the one lyric sung at the beginning about bananas,
Instacart lets you choose your bananas. Get them just how you like.
And the occasional shot of dancers in fruit costumes, it does not do a good job at letting you know that Instacart is a must-have app. Spike Jonze directed the commercial, which means that even more money went down the drain. State Farm was equally bad at promoting what they do. We get it. The customer should have gone with State Farm. But the entire ad is Danny McBride and Keegan-Michael Key singing Living on a Prayer with a random cameo by Cat's Eye. If they were willing to pay for Cat's Eye after appearing in an incredibly successful Gap commercial last year, I feel like they could have been utilized more.
Is that Jake from State Farm?
Stop living on a prayer.
Xfinity reunited the cast of Jurassic Park, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum to reimagine the ending of the film if the servers used Xfinity. The only problem is that it is kind of a blink and you'll miss it moment. The rest of the ad is just the actors reprising their roles in this alternate reality using modern technology. All of that money spent on talent and CGI for people to gawk at a Jurassic Park reunion, not to gawk at Xfinity services. To me, one of the worst ads that I saw was Sofia Vergara's Skechers ad talking about the slide-in shoes. It looks like an infomercial rather than a high-budget venture, and the editing of her foot sliding into the shoe looks so fake. I do not know what they were thinking. Now, to be fair, I'm not a full-time hater. There were some ads that actually remembered to sell their product. Squarespace had an amazing commercial featuring Emma Stone and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Emma Stone dramatically tries to obtain the domain name emmastone.com, but it has already been taken. In frustration, she destroys the laptop and requests another to try again, but it is still gone. We are left with the message that we should use Squarespace today to ensure the domain name that we want is not taken by someone else first. Conversely, TurboTax's ad with Adrian Brody has a similar vibe, but it is not as effective. Starting off in black and white, Adrian gives a monologue about existentialism.
They say death and taxes are the only guarantees in life.
Then the director calls cut and is told to tone down his performance, making fun of how melodramatic some of Adrian's performances are. And that's the punchline of the ad. So why should we be using TurboTax? Emma Stone made it pretty clear why we should be using Squarespace. Also, side note, here in New Zealand, the government calculates our taxes on our behalf. We don't need to do it ourselves or pay someone else to do it. You guys should look into that. Another commercial I loved was Pepsi's. The Coca-Cola bear participates in the Pepsi challenge, basically where you do a blind taste test to see which cola you prefer, and the polar bear preferred Pepsi. Not sure what to do with this realization, he goes to his therapist, played by Taika Waititi, and slowly realizes that maybe Pepsi is the superior cola. I just love how they are reigniting the cola war. This was almost as big as the cola battle between Britney and Christina when they endorse rivaling drinks. To learn all about it, go watch this video on it. After watching all of these commercials back to back, I kept on asking myself the same question. Why does everything feel so desperate this year? Well, we are in a global recession. I mean, Sofia Vergara was featured in not one, not two, but 3 different Super Bowl commercials. A lot of these ads use celebrities that already worked with the brands last year. We saw Ben Affleck doing his 4th Dunkin commercial in a row, like come on now. At what point does this become desperation?
Get him banned. Get him banned.
Post Malone was back again for Bud Light and Matthew McConaughey was back for Uber Eats. This tells us something very important. Big brands are playing it safe. They're relying on using the same faces because they can't risk a flop in this economy. If brands saw a return on their investments from last year's Super Bowl ads, then why fix something that is not broken? It is a win for them, but somewhat of a loss for us because it just feels like we are watching the same ads that we've already seen before. Outside of all of the cringe things celebrities were contracted to do, they were also boiled down to their simplest, most surface level archetypes. Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, and Jason Alexander jumped back into a sitcom, William Shatner embraced every Star Trek joke imaginable, and the Jurassic Park cast just recycled their iconic roles. Usually, stars spend years trying to shake off these old labels. Miley Cyrus took a bong hit and cut her hair into a pixie cut just to get away from the Disney Channel image, but now they're happy to jump back into their old personas for a quick paycheck. It's almost like they have given up, which is kind of telling about where celebrity culture is at right now. This also ties into a much bigger problem that I have seen throughout the 2020s, nostalgia bait. Pop culture just feels like it's been recycling the same stuff that we have already seen over 20 years ago. Every pop song sounds like an 80s disco throwback, fashion is just regurgitated 2000s trends, and nearly every TV show or movie is just a remake. And guess what? The Super Bowl ads are no different. The Jurassic Park reunion for Xfinity, Living on a Prayer in the State Farm ad, Star Trek references in the Raisin Bran ad, Elijah Wood playing another fantasy character for Skittles, an 80s inspired ad for Instacart, the Backstreet Boys singing I Want It That Way for T-Mobile, 90s sitcom references in the Dunkin ad, Guy Fieri's 2000s aesthetic in a Bosch ad, and even Bradley Cooper and Matthew McConaughey had a small failure to launch reunion for Uber Eats. Even if the ads are creative, they are relying on nostalgia as a crutch. It's almost like these brands are saying, you remember this? Good old times, eh? Do you want to buy our product now by any chance? Another trend this year was brands making niche references that only certain audiences would understand. For example, Pepsi referenced the Coldplay Jumbotron scandal, and Uber Eats had a ton of niche references. The Waffle Party in Severance using a cameo from Tremel Tillman.
Ooh, waffles.
There was a Star is Born reference.
A Coke! What?
Just wanted to take another look at you.
And they also referenced the song Diet Pepsi by making its singer drink a can.
Don't drag me into this.
They also paired older actors like Matthew McConaughey with younger pop stars like Addison Rae. I like to call this the old and young equilibrium. State Farm featured Danny McBride, old, alongside Haley Steinfeld, young. He sings Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, old, and then has a cameo by Cat's Eye as backup dancers. Young. Bueno had Michael Fitchner, old, and Paige DeSorbo, young. Instacart had Ben Stiller, old, with Benson Boone, young. Poppy had Charlie XCX, old, just kidding, okay, you get the point. It seems like brands are trying to hit multiple demographics at once, maybe to maximize their impact in a weakening economy. In 2018, it was reported that only 30% of the Super Bowl commercials featured celebrities. However, last year, that number jumped up to 70%. So, why has there been such a surge in celebrity commercials? Well, let's talk about money. One 30-second Super Bowl ad slot costs around $8 million. Late entries sometimes have to spend over $10 million. And getting A-list talent, that can run anywhere from $3 to $5 million per spot, especially when the ad depends on a specific celebrity's involvement. Think Will SHAT for Raisin Bran. You can't replace William Shatner there. Brands realize that the easiest way for people to pay attention to their ads is to capture their attention with recognizable faces. Chris Hemsworth is on a TV screen right now. Is this something to do with an upcoming superhero movie perhaps? Let's watch and find out. Emma Stone is in a black and white cinematically shot video. Is this a movie trailer perhaps? Let's watch and find out. But I was questioning the use of some celebrities and whether their paycheck was a good investment. Nerds used Andy Cohen. I feel like only gay men and women over 45 know who this man is. The rest of America will be watching this thinking it's just a struggling actor doing commercial work. And I wonder if anybody on set had to notify him that nerds are meant to be swallowed, not snorted. Allegedly. Also, Grubhub hired George Clooney to proclaim that Grubhub will eat the fees for any orders over $50, and no shade, but is George Clooney still relevant in 2026? Was he really worth the millions of dollars that they probably had to spend to get him to do this? Because of budget constraints, we saw a trend in more ensemble casts. This spread the star power and the paycheck across multiple celebrities. Dunkin had Ben Affleck chatting with Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, and Jason Alexander, and Ritz Crackers was able to fit Scarlett Johansson, Bowen Yang, and Jon Hamm on one jet ski. It's the brand's way of saying to these celebrities, you are not as important as you think you are. Here is a paycheck that is less than what you're used to, but still a significant amount of money for only one day of work, and if you say no, it's fine. We'll find somebody else to join this ensemble. Ultimately, this year, we saw brands playing it very safe so that they could make a return on their massive investments, and the easiest way to do that? Use celebrities and make them do incredibly cringe things because they are just as desperate for money as these brands are. I mean, would someone like William Shatner really do an ad about pooping every day if times were good? Would Serena Williams, a tennis legend who's been at peak fitness her entire life, promote a weight loss drug like Ozempic? And even though I thought the commercial was really good, would Emma Stone promote Squarespace if a banana costs less than $50? These commercials are a reflection of how bad the global economy really is. Let me know in the comments which celebrity commercial was the biggest mess and which celebrity probably did not deserve to get paid what they did for what they delivered. A quick reminder that I have a Patreon where I am posting exclusive content. Currently I have videos up in the 2002, 2003, 2007, and 2013 VMA pre-shows. They were all absolute hot messes. Links in the description. A quick reminder that you can get 84% off CyberGhost VPN and keep your activity secure. Just click the link in my description. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and heck, why not share with your friends? And I'll see you in the next one. See ya!